Let's lock in with the Lucy boys. Listen, I got my ass reamed over the weekend. I'm saying, hey, I lost. Number one, I lost money. There's no running from that. But I think I might have won a total of 4 bets, counting a couple race to 10s. We got into this race to 10 because I'm kind of sitting there. Number one, by the way, the DraftKings Sportsbook at Wrigley is incredible. The vibe was awesome. All the boys there, like, it was a fun time. But I remember before I left when we were in the gambling cave, and I silently shotgunned like 2 high noons at the end of the stream. Shane was texting me. He's like, I'm watching the stream right now. He's like, you need to get the chat going. And he's like, shotgun something silently, but don't tell nobody. Just quietly do it. He's texting me all this stuff, and I was like, okay. Because we ended up going back and forth, and I go, tell me to do something, ... with the devil face, like we're sexting. And so I go and grab a high noon, shotgun it, do another one. But before I left, I just remember telling Big Cat, BC, I was like, you guys talk about this is the greatest weekend in all of sports. Gambling, like, Will can't wait. It was my first time. I'm excited. And I got absolutely murdered on everything that I was picking. Dave's out here. He's gambling anywhere from, like, his number was like 66,000 to $250,000. And just, he's losing the same amount, or he's losing the same games I'm losing. Because I like look over back, damn, I bet, hey, I had 500 on it, man. If that makes you feel any better. Ryan Whitney, he was down. I don't want to say it because we were kind of talking like how we're gonna have some of these conversations when we get home. Like, hey, how'd you do? And kind of like depends on how you look at it. Yeah, I put that tweet out of the conversation with Charo. Like, I forget what it said, but it was like, oh, it depends on how you look at it. She's like, how else can you look at it? I was like, well, I have a beautiful family and I love my life. So there's always perspective in everything. But I lost I lost so much. Geared up. Dave, did you guys see the clip where he's like, I've never seen a team let somebody down the way that they've let you down. Just, you gear up, and every time you show up, you just keep getting hit in the mouth. He's like, but I got to give it to you. You keep coming back. Which that'll forever be the case. We did get destroyed. The first couple minutes, did you guys watch the game? The first couple minutes of Tominaga just banging threes. It's like, yo, let's go. This dude's going to light it up. But that fucking Taylor cat from A&M, he was like 6 for 6 from 3. I will say the tournament, watching it has been a lot of fun because you just kind of, I don't know, you're just kind of in it. You're just keeping up with absolutely everything. We were in the gambling cave on day 2. Day 1, we were at the sports book. Truly there from tip off to the very last game. I'm getting back to the hotel like midnight, just thinking like, where did the day go? Like, where'd the time? We're literally just sitting there melting, watching games. And when you have to wait, my whole thing is this, and you guys know how I'll get antsy and start wanting to bet drives in football and quarters and it's like you want to feel something, so you put something in. Somebody's like, hey, let's do a race to 10. We hit the first race to 10 that we do, and that was the worst. That was the problem, is we thought we were going to bounce back. We had some like plus 300 race to 10, and we were all fired up. And so we just go, from that moment, we go 0-5 race to 10 the rest of the day after winning that first one. And we just kept doing race to 10 because when we would place our bets, right? Like, we'd be fired up. Like, I don't know, Dayton the first game, we'll put it on Dayton. And then you kind of got to wait to the end of the game to kind of get into, all right, March Madness, back and forth, sinking last minute shots, cover, this, that. But in the beginning, it's kind of like, all right, how do we do something that we can feel this excitement right now versus we have to wait to the end of the game, especially in the very first slate, because there's only like 1 game on, 2 games on. It's not like all 4 games going at one point in time. So we get into the race to 10. We start betting. PFT hit first points who make it. He hit 2 in a row out of the gate. I'm talking like they hit a plus 600, a plus 500. And so we ride a couple of those. Thinking like, oh, what does he say? He's a gremlin. And overall, it was a great time. I got abused. My unit has unfortunately like ticked up, which isn't a good thing. Gamble responsibly, 1-800-GAMBLER for those watching. DraftKings Sportsbook is the best sportsbook out there. But yeah, it wasn't good. I lost a solid amount on Nebraska.
You feel bad at all for not going to the game? You think the outcome might have been different had you been there?
I don't know if the outcome's different. I felt bad all the way leading up to the game because I had talked to Coach Rule, the day before. I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to feel Dave out." And for those who haven't followed the saga, we had which we can get into, the Dave and Busters. We didn't show for this bracket Busters last week. Dave reams us out verbally. We go, we're going back and forth. I realized that I'm trying to go to this Nebraska game on Friday. Dave's going to be there until Saturday. And the whole time he is under the assumption that I'm going to be there. Because even when we laugh about, we'll get to this hypothetical story. So fast forward to, we're there at the DraftKings sportsbook. I had talked through it. I tried calling Dave the day before to be, hey, I got this opportunity. I got this op. Nebraska's got me tickets. Johnny Manziel's got me a ticket. He was courtside. It was like low level tickets with Coach Rule. I tried calling him, he didn't answer. So then I sat on it more. And then I text Big Cat. I'm like, hey, I'm going to drop you a hypothetical. Big Cat then just FaceTimes me. And then I also asked Ryan Whitney, about it. He was like, does Dave think you're going to be there on Friday? I was like, absolutely. He goes, I don't know if I would. He's like, but he's not going to fire you. So, it'll all end up as content somehow. And I said, it's the unnamed show. I was like, when are you doing the unnamed show? And he was like, Friday. And all I put back was perfect. That was when in my mind, I was probably still going to go. I was kind of up in the air, but I was probably still going to go to the game. And then I talked to Big Cat. Big Cat's like, throw up the hypothetical to him. This is the exact same scenario, probably around 6 p.m. on Thursday. And sadly, Whit doesn't, I'm not going to say tattle. He doesn't tattle. I was giving him shit for being like, yo, you just ran to Dave and fucking tattled about our conversation. They flew together from Boston to Chicago. But apparently it had come up the week of the bracket busters. And he's like, I don't think Will's going to do this, but, and he's like, nah, never mind. I'm not going to tell you. And then Dave like brings it out of him. He said, you have to tell me. And so he basically says it. So when Dave comes to the sports book, he sits down next to me and he tells Big Cat, and he's like, I just turned down these courtside seats to Caitlin Clark. And he's like, and Jimmy Buffett, like, I guess he loves Jimmy Buffett more than Taylor Swift. He explains. He's like, and Jimmy Buffett, I had these tickets and I'm not doing it because I said I was going to be here. So I got to be here. I know it's like a reunion thing. There's like some, like a memorial concert, reunion concert, something like that. It's like, man, I caught pass on a couple big opportunities, but I saw this smirk on his face that tipped me off. Like, he already fucking knows. I'm thinking Big Cat outed me already. I'm like, BC, what the fuck, dude? I look over to BC. I was like, and Dave starts jabbing at me a little more. And he's like, and Big Cat goes, hey, I think Will has a hypothetical for you. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this hypothetical at like noon or 11 a.m. Like, I got to be prepared. That's when that clip comes. I'm like, hypothetically. But at the time, I think Big Cat has outed me already about doing this stuff. And so I bring up hey, hypothetically, let's say you played at a school for 4 years, sweat, tears, blood, and the school, they're offering you these low-level seats, courtside. Johnny Manziel's going to be there, courtside seats to go support them. They make you a full uniform. But hypothetically, you have this commitment to be somewhere on that Friday. And a superior just reamed this employee out, this hypothetical employee. If you're the hypothetical employee, would you take this opportunity to go cheer on your school for this once in a lifetime, like bucket list, whatever I say? Mitch, you can run the clip if you want.
Hypothetical. This is hypothetical. So I need a hypothetical. Hypothetically. To respond. Yeah. Let's just say hypothetically, you went to a school, and that school was to give you courtside tickets to go watch them in March Madness when they've never won a game. So hypothetically, next to Johnny Manziel for the Nebraska A&M game. In this hypothetical situation, if this guy were to go, this guy also, for whatever reason, I don't know a situation, but one of his superiors verbally reamed him earlier in the week. And he's thinking like, hey, should I go to this Nebraska game?
I can't believe how perfect this worked out. And Dave sat down and was like, I turned down.
All right, Mississippi State.
Yeah, I didn't know.
What worked out? No, that he...
hypothetical?
That he turned down the...
Well, I just turned down, yeah. Yeah. I'm giving
So
you.
hypothetically, you wouldn't even. This isn't even a question he'd ask you.
It's hypothetical is whether you'd even raise the hypothetical.
But it's not.
Right.
Yeah, this is all hypothetical.
Right. Because none of this is actually happening.
To the Nebraska game.
No, you're committed. Like
That'd be crazy, right?
If you went,
if they went, not me.
Nuts.
This hypothetical person.
Nuts. It's crazy to even think in this hypothetical. I would even hypothetically be like that. He would have hypothetically called Ryan Whitney and been like, "Should I go to this game?" That would be hypothetically crazy.
There's a hypothetical. I agree with you.
Hypothetically,
career suicide.
Person might have called me last night asking for my hypothetical advice.
And maybe Whitney hypothetically got the call, and I hypothetically have these Caitlin Clark tickets hypothetically too, just to be like.
But it's good that we've all been living in hypotheticals.
Yeah.
We never even asked it. That's crazy.
That's a crazy thought.
And Dave's like, no, I mean, I just turned down everything. I wouldn't go. I was like, yeah, stupid idea, right? But we're kind of just messing around back and forth. And I was like, Big Cat, what the fuck? He's like, dude, I didn't say nothing. He's like, no, Whit told me on the flight over. Like, oh, hey, you're never going to believe this. He kind of painted it a different picture against Whit. And then there's a commercial break. Dave was like, he was asking, he's like, hey, so where's the game at? I was like, oh, it's in Memphis. So it's like 2.5 hours north of Nashville. He's like, oh, that makes sense. And he was like, what kind of tickets? And then the conversation kind of faded into something else. But it felt like if I would have truly been like, yo, I do want to go to this game, would it really be, I mean, is it going to be, are you just going to make content? Or are you actually going to feel some type of way? I didn't ever ask him that question, but I felt like he would have been, oh, bro, you can go to the game. But being there at the sports book and being like with Biz and Whit, Big Cat, Dave, Rico buses in, Jerry, Brandon, Titus. Now I feel like I got to name everybody so I don't leave anybody out. Mincy, you get the fun the Mincy-isms, making money. And the vibe was just fun to where it was like, it's like I wish I could have been in both places. Because I thought it'd be funny, like if I'm in that full uni, just sitting on a stream, like around all the Barstool guys, wishing it would have been a better fight than what it was. Because Dave ended up getting mad because I got mad. We lost like another bet. And Whit had asked him like, Dave, what are you going on this next game? And I was like, don't even fucking ask him. Everything he says, he loses. And he's like, I'm fucking, right there, I'm fucking A&M, fuck you. He's like, fuck Nebraska. And so we had this back and forth. He ended up losing the first to 10, A&M Nebraska. That's what made him walk out of the stream. And we never got to have as much fun with it. But like, I felt bad because I felt like I let Coach Rule down. I called him. I was kind of texting him. He's like, bro, do what you got to do. He's like, I swear, I promise you, it doesn't bother me. I was like, all right, honestly, I'm probably going to hang back and just cheer on. Cause I was like, and guys were kind of telling me they were pulling for Nebraska. Like Titus had been talking about Tominaga all year. Guys were like, hey, Nebraska, I'm rooting with you. Rico brought his Nebraska sweat. So part of me was like, I felt like I would have bailed on them wanting to root for Nebraska. So I ended up not going. And the whole time Rule is sending me photos, empty chair at dinner, empty chair at breakfast. He calls me on the bus with all the Nebraska fans and the donors and the alumni. Everybody's like, want to know where's Willie at? Where's playoff Willie? I was like, why do you gotta do this to me? Yeah. Then Dave comes up and Coach Rule just immediately goes to battle. Like, hey, he said something like, I'm Team Compton, not Team Portnoy, whatever. So yeah, it did suck. However, in the middle of the game, going towards the end, like when they weren't making a comeback, I was like, man, thank God. Like I'm not there. I would have just been like sitting there looking full uniform next to Johnny, the way he was tweeting. I was like, God, he would have been giving it to me the whole time. And there would have been nothing I could have said. I would have probably started yelling at the players, just projecting on them. Do something.
There's a stat out there that Nebraska has never lost a basketball game that Will Compton has attended. Not that will make you feel any better.
Nebraska has never lost a basketball game
that you've been at in person.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I've been to 2.
Right.
I want to say the very first one I went to, they might have been playing Kansas on my recruiting trip. Ain't no way we beat Kansas.
Since you were a student, not your high school years, like when you became Team Nebraska.
Yeah, maybe my brain's not thinking of it. Like, yeah, at a game, I think we beat Texas that one time I was at a game. But since I started rooting for them a couple weeks ago, they just lost. Like, maybe I'm fucking cursed. Like, truly, I might be the problem.
Compton curse.
Yeah, I know. But I did root for Tennessee. I covered with Tennessee. I didn't publicly say it. Like, maybe that has something to do with it because I just texted Jack quietly. And honestly, when I sent the text, I was hoping that Jack wouldn't be like, God damn it.